Please excuse any mispronunciations by TTS, the English TTS has trouble with non-English words. But, if you watch Zentria, you should be fine. Apple Gaming Hub could be announced after Switch 2 release. Apple appears to be making major moves to grow its gaming efforts in 2025. Between rumblings of a potential new gaming hub in the Apple ecosystem being announced days after the Nintendo Switch 2 launches, and the recent acquisition of the developer behind the Apple Arcade hit Sneaky Sasquatch, it appears as though Tim Cook and team are gearing up for a big leap forward into the gaming industry. But can they finally crack that code? There isn't a lot of information about this topic, so I'll be increasing various Apple-centric articles to this video. Microsoft reveals how Apple has delayed its Xbox mobile game store on iOS. Microsoft has revealed that Apple's App Store rules have delayed the release of the Xbox mobile game store on iOS in a legal filing supporting Epic Games in its ongoing legal dispute against Apple. The case between Epic Games and Apple has continued for years in the courts regarding Fortnite and its in-app purchase commissions on Apple's mobile app platform. Now, Microsoft is offering an argument in the case against Apple, as well. Microsoft announced its plans to launch a mobile Xbox store in 2023, initially targeting a July 2024 release. The store was part of a broader push to expand Xbox services to mobile platforms, following its acquisition of mobile entities such as Candy Crush, but the project seems to have come to a standstill. In a newly submitted legal brief, unearthed by The Verge, Microsoft explains that Apple's policies have prevented it from offering users proper access to its own mobile store. The brief was filed in the case between Epic Games and Apple, supporting Epic's position and challenging Apple's payment scheme. The company argues that even after a district court ruling in favor of Epic Games, Apple continued to impose restrictions that blocked Microsoft from fully implementing its store. Microsoft claims that due to the App Store's restrictive policies, it was unable to give users access to alternative payment options and therefore implement its store fully. Mobile Xbox Store waiting for further court orders to secure off-app purchases. Microsoft stated that its proposed solution for the app simply tries to give gamers access to more payment options. In the document, Microsoft details that it wants to offer gamers a way to purchase in-app items that can be used in games and other apps with purchases made outside the iOS app. However, according to Microsoft, Apple's current rules still prohibit the company's workaround, although Fortnite has returned to the iOS App Store after Epic's win in court. Apple is in the process of appealing the April 2025 ruling, prolonging the court saga. Currently, Microsoft fears launching a store only to have it revoked if Apple's appeal succeeds, and would send Microsoft back to the drawing board. This isn't the first time Microsoft has had issues launching apps on Apple's platform, either. In 2020, Microsoft and Apple clashed with regard to game streaming policies, which Microsoft claimed offered a bad experience for customers. With both Epic Games and Microsoft pointing their fingers at the App Store's harsh policies, Apple is likely to have a hard time convincing the appeals court of its point of view, especially with public opinion largely behind the opposition. However, the continuing case unfortunately means that the consumer has to wait longer to get access to Microsoft's storefront on iOS. Trump tariffs no longer include certain electronics, including smartphones. A notice from U.S. Customs and Border Protection has revealed that certain electronics, including smartphones and computers, will be exempted from the new tariffs. The change will affect products entering the United States as early as April 5, following the recent introduction of a massive tariff hike on China. The tariffs have raised concerns among fans about potential raised prices on both games and new consoles, particularly with regards to the upcoming Switch 2. United States President Donald Trump's bevy of tariffs issued against other countries around the world are now reportedly set to exclude certain types of electronics, including smartphones. The first few months of Donald Trump's second term as U.S. president have been a hectic time across multiple industries, with the newly enacted commander-in-chief making sweeping changes. President Trump's new suite of tariffs have been one of the biggest early stories, with the tariffs hitting everything from groceries to electronics. Now, however, one particular sector may be spared from the raised prices. The gaming industry has seen plenty of concern from both fans and developers about the impact of tariffs on both consoles and new software. Nintendo announced that, with the impending launch of its next console, pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2 would be delayed in the US to assess the impact of the tariffs. The array of markups on foreign products has incited worries about potential increases for other consoles as well, including particular concern about the price point of the PS5 Pro. A recent report now reveals that certain products will be exempted from the new tariffs. Smartphones and other electronics exempt from new Trump tariffs. As reported by CNN, a recent notice shared by United States Customs and Border Protection has confirmed some products will not be affected by the tariffs. The exemption will see smartphones, computer monitors, and other electronics parts not included as part of the raised prices from the newly enacted tariffs, applying to products entering after April 5. The change will see major tech companies like Microsoft and Apple able to continue development and normal sales in countries like China, which makes up the majority of Apple's parts production. The newly enacted exemptions to Trump's newest round of tariffs could have a major impact on the gaming industry, which has already seen growing concerns about new console price points. Many fans have already spoken out against the pricing of Nintendo's newest console, with the Switch 2 set to start at $450 USD for the base console. The new Nintendo console also saw the developer raising the prices for new games, with Mario Kart World being sold for $80 for one of the Switch 2's premier launch titles. The continued tariffs have also raised concerns about the overall effect on games and the entertainment industry. The ESA recently gave a statement about the tariffs, feeling that they could have a real and detrimental impact on gaming, leading to higher console and game prices. Several Japanese developers also saw their stock prices take a major hit, with both Sony and Nintendo seeing marked decreases following the new tariffs. Hopefully, the new exemptions will lead to a more affordable gaming experience for gamers in the US and around the world. Apple TV Plus's hit gaming series just got a surprise cancellation. Apple TV Plus shows are supported by their revenue, but even popular series like Mythic Quest can get cancelled. Despite the cancellation, Apple TV Plus continues to invest in comedy with new and returning hits. Apple focuses on creating quality content rather than chasing ratings, offering a diverse range of shows. Television series on Apple TV Plus may be a little more safe than your average shows thanks to the multinational technology company's ability to essentially print money. They raked up $390+ billion in revenue last year alone, but the streaming era waits for no one. Even highly popular shows get the axe, and Apple just proved that to a T. When Apple TV Plus launched on November 1, 2019, the fledgling streaming service only had 7 original shows to call its own. That number would grow significantly over the following years, with the vast majority of their original series getting multiple seasons regardless of viewership numbers. Shows like For All Mankind, Slow Horses, Ted Lasso, and The Morning Show are all still going on years after their initial debut. If Apple believes in a show, they have no problem shelling out the money to keep it going. Look at something like the relatively minor sci-fi hit Silo getting a renewal for 2 more seasons despite middling viewership, and an all-star cast featuring Rebecca Ferguson, Rashida Jones, David Oyelowo, Common, and Tim Robbins. In an age where other streaming services seem to be cutting costs, Apple just keeps on trucking along. Apple's continued support of original shows makes the following news all the more surprising. According to an exclusive report from Variety, Mythic Quest, created by Charlie Day, Rob McElhenney, and Megan Gans, is coming to an end after its 4th season wrapped up in March. The report comes as somewhat of a surprise, as the show has always been quite popular and even just aired a 4-episode spin-off, Side Quest, less than a month ago. Both the 4th season of Mythic Quest and the lone season of Side Quest garnered solid reviews from critics, but Apple apparently feels it is time to move on from the franchise as a whole. What does the cancellation of Mythic Quest mean for the future of comedy at Apple TV Plus? While it is somewhat surprising to see Apple abandon its longest-running comedy series after 4 seasons in 5 years, it's not like the company is scaling down its search for more laugh-centric television. The studio, the critical darling of the current television world, along with surprise hit The Pit, is ongoing on Apple TV Plus at this very moment. The Hollywood satire created by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg is nearly universally beloved by critics and could run for years, thanks to the shows centering around a film production company. Other high-concept comedies like Government Cheese, Murderbot, and Stick are all coming down the pike this year for the streaming service as well. Then there are the returning hits Apple TV Plus has coming in the future. Ted Lasso, Shrinking, Palm Royale, Bad Monkey, Loot, and Platonic have all been renewed over the past few years. While the beloved Ted Lasso may be Apple's only genuine mega-hit comedy, the company has never really seemed all that interested in chasing the ratings game that Netflix and Disney Plus are playing. Instead, Apple seems content with creating programming they are proud of that can stand side by side with other tenets of their massive company output. Getting a new iPhone or MacBook? Why don't you check out our streaming service as well? Apple TV Plus will never be the core product of Apple's company, and if we continue to get multiple seasons of quality shows like Mythic Quest, then what is there to complain about? Mythic Quest is currently available to stream on Apple TV Plus. Thanks for watching to the end, you are cherished and I hope you return for more. Deet. Just an old breaking news joke.